Hello YouTube, it's Barbara Jean. Again, I apologize for looking off this way. It's just really hard for me to look this way because I don't have anything to focus on over there. So even though the little dot is over here, and when I'm looking over there, I'm actually looking at you, but I'm looking at myself over here, so it's very confusing for my mind. So please, I apologize for not being able to look directly at the camera. And I also apologize for the darkness. I live in a basement and the light quality for this camera is not particularly good. Alright, I wanted to try to make this video earlier and I just got long and I've started going around in circles, which is my way. You know, those who watch my videos know I ramble. I ramble, but I always end up getting around to the point. It just takes me a long time to get around to it. So I apologize for those who are new to my channel and those who are used to me by now. Well, you know my ways. I have a couple of dreams I want to talk to you about. Okay, if I can get myself focused here. Let's read. Let's see, where should we start reading? Acts 2, starting at verse 17. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And of my servants and of my handmaids I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of the Lord come. I also want to read Revelations chapter 3, my favorite passage, as those who've been with me for some time know. Revelations chapter 3, starting at verse, let's see, where should we start? At verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write on him my new name. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation 21, verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. Beautiful, isn't it? That's gorgeous. Anyway, this is going to be about going home. Those who've been with me for some time now have had heard me speak about my dreams of being in Australia. Now, for those who have not been with me for some time, I have had a recurring dream about being in Australia. No offense to people in Australia. Australia is a beautiful place. It truly is gorgeous. Lots of natural beauty, and it's just fabulous. It's a really lovely place to visit. But many years ago now, I was on a musical tour, and I spent a year in Australia, in Sydney mostly, and in Melbourne. And interestingly enough, while I was in Sydney and Melbourne, this homesickness that I had was was incredible. I couldn't believe how homesick I was. I always wanted to visit Australia, always did, strangely enough. It was in my spirit to visit Australia. And the Lord arranged it for me to visit Australia, interestingly enough. And but while I was in Australia, that just being over there a year, I longed for home, longed for home. And although I've been back from Australia all these many years, it's been many years, well over, is it 15 years now? 15 years at least? I can't remember now. Home from Australia, from that being on tour, I keep having this reoccurring dream about being in Australia and trying to get home. Interestingly enough, in my reoccurring dreams, there's always something I have to do. There's always something that needs to be done, something that's left undone. One of the dreams I had in Australia, it was a very prophetic dream. I believe Alex Jones was in it too, but I'm not sure. I know I was in the dream with these mighty men of God, the strong men, the watchmen, but the strong men of God I was in this dream with them, but I'm not going to go into the details of it because it was too much. But I remember that was probably one of the most vivid dreams I had. But in this dream, but the dreams I have, there's always something that has to be done, and either something's left undone, some business is left undone, baggage needs to be packed. I have to make sure that some things are sent off, sent to shipping, make arrangements for my flight. There's always something that has to be done. And there's always this sense of feelings. I can't leave. There's something I have to do. I can't leave now. I can't leave yet because there's this and this and this have to be done. There's always a sense of anxiety, a sense of unfinished business that prevents me in some way from leaving Australia to go home. Now, interestingly enough, in this dream that I had, something's happened that's never happened before. I went home. I went home. Yes, I went home. Now, in this dream, I wasn't alone. I was with my sisters. Now, those people, again, who have been with me for some time, know that when I dream about my sisters, it's an allegory, spiritual allegory for the 7 churches. It's a spiritual allegory for the 7 churches of Asia Minor. And in this dream, there was the presence or the sense of my mother. Now, those, again, who've been with me for some time know that my mother passed about 2 years ago now. My mother went home to be with the Lord. Went home to be with the Lord. The Lord is so amazing. I'm telling you, the way He speaks to me is amazing. But in this dream, I was with my sisters. We were living together in an apartment. And in my dream, I knew that my mother had gone home. She was with us in Australia in the dream. She had been with us. There's sense that she was always with us, but that she had already gone home to Vancouver, where I live now personally. I live in Vancouver, so that was my home. So she'd already gone home to Vancouver. Okay? And she was waiting for us there. She was waiting for us in Vancouver. And my sisters and I were still here still in Australia. But what was interesting is that in the apartment that we were all living together in, there was no furniture except for beds. There was no baggage. There was no clothes. There was nothing that needed to be done. In fact, my sense was, it's done. It's finished. There's nothing left for me to do. I don't have to do anything else. It's finished. And the beds that were in the room that we had been sleeping on were upended. And the mattresses were upended. To signify, to say, we are not even going to sleep here anymore. We are done. In the dream, I didn't have the sense I had baggage to pack. I didn't have the sense I had to get to the shipping office. I didn't have the sense I had unfinished business. There was no sense of anything left to do. It was done. And in the dream, I got on a plane and I went home. I even landed in Vancouver. And when I got there, the sense was, okay, now I got to finish what I got to do here. There's things I have to do here now. Now that I'm home, now I've got to finish my work here. This is the first time that's happened. I went home. Everything that needs to be done is done. So that's what the Lord was showing me in this dream. As I said before, when I was a young girl, 13, 14 years old, and I voluntarily received that thorn of suffering in my heart, the Lord has used, I had no idea what this was about. The Lord prompted me to receive it. I received it. It caused me a great deal of suffering through all these years. I'm not a young woman, 56 years old. I have to tell you that, but I'm 56 years old. Yes, I'm not young. And all these years, the Lord has been leading me through a process of spiritual warfare and battles. And I didn't understand my life. In fact, I would cry out often, Lord, I don't understand my life. I don't understand why it's so hard. I don't understand why I'm going through the things I'm going through. I don't understand why it's so hard to get my prayers answered. You've given me this faith. I have faith, otherwise I wouldn't have done what I did. I have faith, otherwise I wouldn't be crying out to you like I do. I wouldn't be crying out to you, Lord. So I obviously must have faith, but I don't understand my life. And the Lord, through all these years and all the things that I've gone through, and especially the last few years since I've been on YouTube, I'm beginning, and in fact, it's only beginning really to understand the depth of this ministry the Lord has put me through. This prophetic thing, which was to be a conduit for his church, a conduit of faith, a conduit to understand the readiness of his church, the readiness of his bride for his return. Excuse me. Hi, I'm going to have to call you back.
Okay.
Okay, so the Lord has given me this thorn of suffering, and all through these years I have suffered on behalf of his church, on behalf of his people, on behalf of his bride. I've gone from great tribulation, from great troubling, to a place of almost perfect peace. I'm almost there. Almost perfect peace. Not quite, because there's still things inside of me that says something is left undone. Even though the dream said nothing was left undone, it was prophetic that we're that close to going home, people. And I'm trying to tell you that there's something inside of me that's saying, it's almost finished. It's almost finished. We're almost done. It's almost over. My suffering is coming to an end. He's used me as a gauge for the readiness of his church, for his bride, for his return. Perfect love casts out fear. The church has to be in perfect love before he returns for his church. The church has to be without fear before he comes for his bride. The church has to be without spot or wrinkle. That's why when we are without spot or wrinkle, we are also without fear. These last few years have been an incredibly amazing experience for me. Sitting in this chair is going to be taken to heaven and put in the museum of faith and testimony. I'm telling you this for a fact. That chair that I've been sitting in was where I've done so many spiritual battles. So much spiritual warfare has been in this chair. And that chair is going in the museum of faith and testimony in heaven. This is amazing to me. We are so close, people, to going home. We're almost finished this race, this battle, this against the enemy, the synagogue of Satan. As I said before, what is the synagogue of Satan? It's Leviathan. We're bringing down the strongholds of Leviathan, which is the spirit of pride. Jezebel, which is the spirit of witchcraft. Baal, which is the spirit of abortion, hatred against children. The Nicolaitans, that's pedophilia. That's a spirit of pedophilia. We're bringing it down, people. The spirit of oh, it's going on in my head. The terrorists, those martyred Christians. That's the spirit of fear. We're bringing down the spirit of fear, which and we're by our perfect love for the Lord, we're bringing down the spirit of fear. That's a spirit. The spirit of fear is a spirit, and that's why the church will be without fear. That's because we'll be in perfect love. Perfect love casts out fear. Fear is a spirit. We are leaving the synagogue of Satan behind us, people. We're not taking fear with us. We're not taking pride with us. We're not taking witchcraft with us. We're not taking Jezebel and laziness. We're not taking lazy, greasy grace with us. We're not taking any of those things with us. We're putting these things under our feet. That's why the Church of Philadelphia, the synagogue of Satan, will be at her feet, worshiping at her feet. We're putting Satan and the synagogue of Satan under our feet, and it's almost done. We're almost at that place. That's amazing. We are going home. Okay. Now, briefly, I want to tell you I had another dream a few weeks ago, which I told you about, in regards to my little sister being resurrected. My little sister died many years ago. She was hit by a car. Again, a prophetic thing. My little sister's death was not in vain. She has a testimony, people. The way it affected me, the way it affected our family, the death of our little sister. I told you, my sisters are God's way of an allegory for the sister churches. My little sister, my immature sister at 6 years old, hit by a car, killed, is the martyred church. My little sister is the martyred church, being resurrected. And in my dream, I told you a few weeks ago, I had a dream about my little sister. I've never dreamed about my little sister all these years. After her death, when I was about 12 years old, she died. 11, 12, she died. And I've never dreamt about her. And now I'm having a dream about my little sister being resurrected from the dead. Interestingly enough, it had to do with my cousin Thelma. And I told you in the dream, my cousin Thelma, I was with my sisters, we were on stage, we were performing. But my cousin Thelma, she's elderly, she's in her 90s, in this dream, she forgot her skirt. So she had to go off stage to get her skirt. Before she came back on stage, my little sister shows up in the dream, and she's resurrected. And I'm directing my attention to the audience and said, this is my little sister, Sandra Lynn. And she has resurrected from the dead. And then my cousin Thelma comes back on stage, and she's got her skirt. Now she's ready to dance. The most interesting and strange thing is happening right now. Another sign that the Lord is showing me, you could say, oh, that's just a coincidence. I don't think so. My cousin Thelma is an entertainer. She taught me and my sisters how to dance, Afro-jazz, Caribbean dancing. Entertainment is in our blood. It's in my family's blood. So I can't tell you how many, some families have doctors, others have lawyers, and others have engineers, and others have construction workers, and it just in their blood, On my family, it's entertainers. Carpenters and entertainers. That just seems to be what's happening. Carpenters and entertainers. So in the dream I told you about that, my cousin, she's an entertainer. She was an entertainer her whole entire life. She loves it. It's her passion. But she's elderly. She's almost 90 years old now. Her birthday, by the way, is in September, and she's a Virgo. And the last few weeks, my twin sister, has been saying to me, I want to put a party. She's been like really insistent and very adamant about it. I want to put a party on for Thelma. And I didn't tell her this dream. I haven't told her this dream about, I told her about it 2 weeks ago, or whenever I had, a few weeks ago, I had a dream about Sandra. But my sister Bev has been for months saying to me, I want to put a party on for Thelma. I want to have a party for her, and we can do some entertaining. Now, my cousin Thelma's in her 90s. She hasn't entertained for the last few years because she's just not been up to it. She's been too old. She's almost 90 years old. But I'm telling you, if she could today, she'd be on stage right now entertaining if she could. She'd be dancing up and storm up down the stage. She's got a smile like you wouldn't believe. She's a very beautiful spirit woman. She's got such a beautiful spirit. But in this dream, in reality, my sister wants to put a party on. She's been telling me this for months. I want to put a party on for Thelma. Well, recently, another friend just called me and said, I want to put a party on for Thelma. And she says, I've got a date. I want to put a party on for her in August. Interestingly, I want to put a party on for Thelma in August. She just called me up. I want to do this. And so I'm thinking, could this have something to do with the dream I just had a few weeks ago about Thelma being on stage and forgetting her skirt? She goes off stage and then she comes back on. She's got her skirt. She's ready to entertain again. Interestingly enough, she just moved into a senior's residence. And the chaplain there, this is Salvation Army senior's residence, the chaplain found out that she was an entertainer. And, although Thelma can't hardly walk and her memory is terrible, but she remembers every song. I mean, when you lose your memory, it has nothing to do with your ability to remember songs. It doesn't matter how well her memory is. If someone asked her to sing, she's there for it, you know. And here, this chaplain has just said, I want to get you involved in ministry. I want to get you singing for the seniors. And I'm thinking, okay, going back to my dream, my cousin goes off stage because she's forgotten her skirt. In the meantime, I'm on stage with my sisters. My little sister, who was killed all those years ago, resurrects from the dead. And then my cousin comes back on, ready to dance. She's ready to entertain. She's ready to get back to doing what she loves to do. Even though she left it for a while, she came back ready to entertain. Is this only a coincidence? Is it merely a coincidence? I wasn't orchestrating this, people. My sister's been begging me or irritating me for the last few months about putting on a party for Thelma. I'm not an organizer, so if there's going to be a party, I'm not going to be able to I'm not going to be organizing it because I'm not an organizer. So I've done nothing about it. I haven't called anybody about it and tell anybody about it. But then Thelma's friend calls me and says, I want to put a party on for Thelma. And I'm putting it on in August. And all of a sudden, this dream that I had a few weeks ago comes back to me. And I'm going, oh, I think there is a prophetic connection here. Now I can see how it makes sense. This makes sense. Suddenly, that dream was a prophetic dream. My cousin forgot her skirt because she has a terrible memory. Her memory is not working properly, which is why she has to go in a senior's residence. One of the reasons she's in a senior residence, she needs assisted care because of her failing memory. In my dream, she forgets her memory. She needs her skirt. She can't entertain. Then my sister resurrects. She comes back on stage. She's ready to entertain. She's got her skirt. Just saying, is it another coincidence? I seem to have a lot of strange coincidences happening here. Just letting you know. I think the Lord is getting very ready to take us home and resurrect the dead. Anyway, this video has gone on long enough. I hope this makes sense to you. If you're not ready for the Lord's return, do it really quickly. Don't leave any of the steps out, okay? Don't leave any of the steps out. Repent. Give your heart to Jesus Christ. Be baptized. And you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. All right? There's not much time left. According to my dreams, the bride is already gone home in her heart. She's already gone home. And one thing I'm learning about the Lord is we draw with our faith. We are drawing the Lord to us. With our faith, we're drawing close to Him and He's drawing nearer to us. It's our faith that is bringing us home. It's our faith that's taking us home. The faith of the church, the love of the church for the bridegroom is at a place where she can be redeemed and taken home. Okay? I hope this makes sense to you all. God bless you, and I will talk to you later.